Through the grind of an 82-game regular season and 4 rounds of playoff hockey, there can only be one champion. As the New York Islanders continue their drive for 5, we encourage you to listen in as we discuss everything going on with your favorite team. From allislanders.com, this is the All Islanders Podcast.
And now it is Bailey. Fourth power play of the game for the Islanders. Score! Islanders lead! Here's an open net for Prince. He scores! Siding room with a shot. Tipped in front. Rebound. Scores! Josh Bailey. But intercepted. Here's Tavares. Dancing through the front. He scores!
Welcome, guys, to the All Islanders Podcast. This is our 11th episode. We just hit number 10. And today we have Scott returning. He's been gone for a while, but we're glad to have him back today. It's just me and Scott. We wanted to have only 2 people for a very exclusive interview today. This will simplify things because when we have 4, it's crazy, and the Islanders are crazy right now, so we want to make this as smooth as possible. Right now, me and Scott have Andy Graziano on the podcast. We're going to be calling him in about 4 minutes. Today is Thursday, June 22nd, and today's a big day. The Islanders acquired Jordan Eberle from the Edmonton Oilers in return for number 5 overall pick Ryan Strome. And this trade, it's a huge one. We're going to talk about it quickly, then we're going to call Andy Graziano, and we're going to talk about the trade. We're going to talk about some future trades, and we're going to talk about new schedule. His new podcast is going to be a great episode. But right now, I just want to ask you, Scott, before we call Andy, Jordan Eberle, how do you feel about him?
He's not a rental. He's got 2 years left on his contract, $6 million. I respect that. He earns that $6 million. He's a great player, great speed. Sometimes the Edmonton Oilers media, they do call him as a soft player, but that kind of fits into what the Islanders are. Except for the fourth line and like Tavares a little bit and the defense, they're not a real heavy-hitting team. Like they get into the corners. Like Beauvillier can get into the corners. Nelson can get into the corners. But they're closer to a soft team than what Edmonton is, considering that Connor McDavid got more Selke votes than John Tavares, I believe. But let's not get into that. Maybe we'll do awards reactions and a little bit of expansion draft recap later. But let's call in to Andy. Hey, Andy. How's it going?
What's up, buddy?
Well, first off, thanks for being on the podcast again.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, we really appreciate that you continue staying in contact with me as we go along, and Jordan Eberle's a New York Islander.
Yeah, pretty interesting times. I don't think they're done either.
Okay, so let's start off. It's just David and myself today, so you'll only be hearing 2 of us. So, David, why don't you start it off?
Hey, what's up, Andy? Thank you so much
How you
for...
doing, Dave?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming on again. We really appreciate this. Without you, this podcast wouldn't be able to grow to where it is. We really, really appreciate everything you've done for us, and thank you so much for just being a great mentor in this process for us.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so for what we want to ask you first is, it seems like I've been alive for only 17 years. We're both young, and it seems like my entire like teenage life, it seems like the Islanders have been constantly going after these top forwards and never doing anything. It always fizzles out. Ever since Thomas Vanek, it seems like the Islanders have always been speculated to get a huge name, and it's never happened. But today, it seems like the Islanders just got their first line together. I know Lee and Eberle are both play the same position, kind of, but it looks like the Islanders have their top line. It looks like they're set. Why do you think they chose Eberle instead of some other players, even though you say they may not be done?
It's not really that they chose him per se. I mean, he's been on their radar for quite some time. They've been talking with the Oilers about Jordan Eberle over the past year. I think that this summer, obviously, the emphasis is on Garth Snow to go out and get help for John Tavares. I think with Tavares entering the final year of his contract, that's first and foremost the paramount issue right now, even before all this arena drama and all that stuff. So I think that the pressure is on Snow to go out and improve the roster in a way that helps John Tavares not only sign, but helps show John Tavares the direction that this team, that they're finally serious about making a run. And I think the timing just at this point came into fruition. I think that obviously Pierre Chiarelli helped out a lot as he helped out with Johnny Boychuk. He does it once again and helps out in this deal, I believe. I think that maybe while the Islanders didn't win huge, they definitely win big, in my opinion. Ryan Strome, who was a great guy and never shied away from the media through his struggles the last 2 years, I give him major credit for that. He was always stand up with us and answer our questions honestly through all his struggles. But look, the reality is he failed to live up to his expectation as a 5th overall pick, and I think that Garth Snow didn't see that changing much. I think when Doug Weight came on last year, we saw an influx of energy in Strome. We saw a different Ryan Strome in terms of his game. But after the first 10 games of that, he kind of regressed back into what we saw prior to that under Jack Capuano. So I think that everything just came into focus at this time with what the Islanders needed to do, and with obviously the devaluation of Ryan Strome. And I think when you can turn a guy like Strome into Jordan Eberle in a 1-for-1 deal, I just think it's a big win for the Islanders. And if you're looking at a projected first line of Tavares, Lee, and Eberle, of course, nothing is a guarantee, as we saw last year with Andrew Ladd, who was assumed to be the first line winger for Tavares and was never allowed to kind of mature into that due to Jack Capuano's unwillingness to keep them together for longer than 2 weeks. If you project that to be the Islanders' first line and first power play unit, let's say, that's pretty darn good, and I'd stack that lineup against any other in the league pretty equally. So, now the key for Garth Snow is going to be the follow-up, of course. I don't think that Jordan Eberle is enough. I think that it's a great start. I think Garth Snow won big at the expansion draft. I think he won big. He won, not maybe huge, but big in this trade. But I think there's still more work to be done. I think they're still working on a lot of things. There's still a lot of names in the mill. Snow's still working the phones feverishly to add a second piece. And I think that's really what's going to be the determining factor over how this roster looks come training camp.
Okay, so back on the Eberle thing, by the Edmonton media today, before he left, he was asked by their media, do you think you got traded because you make $6 million? However, the Islanders did trade somebody who's making, $2 3/4 million in Ryan Strome? Is it really hard to look at this deal as an Islander fan and feel disappointed? And aside from the fact that Eberle's only got 2 years left and he may not re-sign, is there any risk in this deal?
I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, the Islanders created the salary cap room that they needed with the Grabowski expansion draft night deal. I think, that was kind of a funny moment when Jim Matheson of the Edmonton Press asked Eberle that on our conference call. Eberle had a good laugh about it, though. He was good-natured about it. Kind of told Jim, look, that's not my area of expertise. I'm not a general manager, so I can't. He literally said, I can't answer that. I can't respond to that. I think you can't look too far down the road in 2019 when Eberle's contract does expire. I think you kind of take the deal for what it is. You take the fact that the Islanders have upgraded a significant amount on the offensive side. They've given John Tavares, again, a weapon that he can use, both at even strength and on the power play. And right now, I wouldn't look past 2017-18. Personally, I think that after 2019, we'll probably see another lockout anyway. So, again, it's way too early to look that far ahead. I think right now you just kind of enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. One thing that I really noticed is that Ryan Strome mentioned that John Tavares is a one-on-one player, and David and Draisaitl are great distributors. So one thing that kind of confused me about that was that Strome's always been a great guy with the media. He seems like he's a nice guy, but that comment almost seems like not a jab towards Tavares, but it seems like it almost was Tavares's. He's kind of blaming Tavares almost for not being a team player. How do you feel about that comment, and is that something that should be taken heavily or just kind of lightly?
I don't think there should be any reaction, honestly. I think that what Strome said today was really blown out of context by Islanders fans on social media. He said the stock answers that many guys who get traded say, and after listening to Jordan Eberle on the conference call this afternoon, Eberle was kind of the same with his stock responses to our questions, and happy to be here, happy to contribute, looking forward to a fresh start, thankful for his time in Edmonton and all they've done for his career. I think the Strome comments were taken way out of context. I don't think what he said was too. Basically, he was comparing. You can't compare. Connor McDavid and John Tavares are two different type of players, especially at this point in their careers, obviously. And I think that's really, I think bringing Leon Draisaitl into the conversation was maybe a little bit of a stretch, but, comparing McDavid to Tavares, he really didn't say anything that's that off the mark, to be honest with you. McDavid is a better skater. McDavid is probably, at 20 years old, is probably considered at this point Sidney Crosby light, which is a pretty tremendous honor. And you know what? John Tavares, as great and generational as he is for the Islanders, is obviously in the conversation of the top 10 players in the league, perhaps arguably top 5. But is he Sidney Crosby-like? I think we've all been down this road before. He's just not, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't supposed to be. So, I think the comments were taken a little bit out of context. I think that's Islander fans being a little bit too oversensitive to it.
Okay, so I'll just take this one. Sorry for the lag. It looks like I'm better now. But one thing I was wondering, you did mention, and you've been reporting this for a while, and it's really been exciting the masses, basically. And I'm just wondering, Garceau seems to not be done. And the team that the Islanders have right now could compete. It's a good team. But if the Islanders happen to add a Matt Duchene and Alex Galchenyuk, just another player, I mean, how could that affect next year? And will John Tavares re-sign, even though Arthur Staples reporting he may wait, and so is Elliot Friedman? But how will Garceau, getting another big player, really play an impact in John Tavares' re-signing?
I think I was at early in the season when last season first started. I was at 80-20 that John Tavares was going to re-sign, and that's strictly because you always want to leave yourself 20% of wiggle room, because obviously when the guy's entering the final year of his contract, and especially if he's allowed to get to unrestricted free agency specifically, there's always a risk. Let's face it. I mean, there's never 100% certainty with those kind of things. That's why I put it at 80-20, no other reason. Right now, I'm at about 75-25, which is still very high. I still believe John Tavares will sign here long term. I think the move for Jordan Eberle, and I think whatever comes next for Garceau, and I think there is something coming next. I don't know how big it's going to be. The talks with Duchene, I've been hearing conflicting reports today as far as what, that Joe Sakic is still asking for the sun, the moon, and the stars, just like he was at the trade deadline when talks fell apart with the Avalanche and the Islanders. Sakic seems to be sticking to his guns with a very, very high price on Duchene. I think that might be why we saw some rumors today of Garceau looking to trade back into the first round using Travis Hamonic as bait. I think he might be doing that to try to then take those first round picks, plural, and maybe flip those to Colorado in some kind of modified package for Duchene. I don't think the Islanders are out of Duchene yet. I've heard that they're still very much in that race, and they're still talking with Sakic, kind of going back and forth with offers and proposals. But all indications are right now that Sakic's still playing hardball. And honestly, if I'm Garceau, it's going to come to a point where you have to move on to say, look, I have all these tradable assets, all these valuable assets. If you're not going to work with me, I'm just going to move on to an Alex Galchenyuk or a James Neal or a James Van Riemsdyk. Just move on from it and just be done with it at that point. I think Duchene is, for me, still the get. I think he'd adequately replace Franz Nielsen and then some, which I think hurt the Islanders last year. He's obviously plays center, a position the Islanders could use. He's a great face-off man, terrific speed. So I think he's still the get. But if you don't get him, it's not the end of the world. If you look at Eberle and Galchenyuk, or an Eberle and Van Riemsdyk, or an Eberle and Beal, that's still a pretty formidable get, especially coming off the victory that he achieved in the expansion draft. So I think there's going to come to a point where Snow's going to have to just tell Sakic to just take a walk and move on to other things. There are other guys available. There are other really good players available. I know that Calgary is also looking at Travis Hamonic per reports. They have some interesting young players there that might interest the Islanders. Michael Backlund, possibly. So I don't think Duchesne is the end-all, be-all, even though I think he's the get. I think that Snow can still turn this into a very nice haul. But at the end of the day, I still think John Tavares signs long-term eventually. He stays. Obviously, him and his agent, Pat Burson, is saying that they're going to wait now. It's kind of an indication to me that they want to see maybe what Snow can get done this summer, and then also maybe try to get some closure on the arena situation when the RFP finally comes out and the state finally makes a decision on who's going to win that RFP. So yeah, there's still some questions and uncertainties surrounding Tavares, but talking to John and knowing him over the past 5 years and kind of getting a feel for him as a person and an individual, I really don't see much there that leads me to believe that he's leaving anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm really, I'm actually one of the, I'm pretty confident that he's going to re-sign. I just feel like he said publicly everything that he should say. Him and his agent have been really reassuring to the fan base that he wants to re-sign, and I'd say 70-25 is a good number. Hopefully I'm more optimistic. That 25 is scary, but I do feel like Tavares is good, and I feel like Snow working to get Eberle another player really shows the fan base that and Tavares that he wants to win. And I just have one specific question for you. I saw a rumor that perhaps the Islanders could work with, I wanted to ask you about Calgary, but you already answered that. They have young players. But perhaps Dallas, they have the number 3 pick. They're interested in a defenseman. If Mark Mathot from Vegas doesn't work out, do you possibly think that Travis Hamonic could be moved along with another piece to get that number 3 pick, which then could be flipped as a centerpiece deal to start Colorado's rebuild?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. I think that, again, that's where I think the news today came from, that Gard Snow was looking for very high first-round draft picks for Travis Hamonic. I think, my opinion is, and I've maintained this opinion for about the last 2 months or so, you can't move Travis Hamonic without getting Matt Duchesne back, in my opinion. Now, I know that Colorado is not necessarily that high on Travis Hamonic for whatever reason. He's not really high on Joe Sakic's wish list. So this is why Snow might be trying to figure out something else to satisfy Sakic's ask for Matt Duchesne. So if you could flip Matt Duchesne to Dallas, who, as you said correctly, is desperately in need of a defense, and Montreal is another team that desperately needs a defense. They lost 3 big pieces this year. They signed 1 back today, so they're still down 2. I still don't like their defense from that perspective. I don't think Carey Price, who's talking extension, likes their defense right now. So that's another team to look out for that I think is going to make a big move. And obviously, Alex Galchenyuk's been first and foremost in those discussions. I haven't heard Max Pacioretty's name, but I wouldn't be surprised if his name might come up down the road if Montreal cannot secure that defenseman that they need with Galchenyuk. But in terms of Dallas, if that's getting Gard Snow could certainly go that avenue and try to talk them into taking Hamonic for that 3rd overall pick, and then I think that would be very enticing to Joe Sakic if he can move Matt Duchesne. Let's say the Islanders, I'm just spitballing here, was to send him, the 3rd overall pick, Michael Del Cole, and maybe some other prospect, lower end prospect. I think that might just be enough to entice Joe Sakic to do that. I think that 3rd overall would be a huge swinging piece in any kind of deal for Duchesne. And again, this is where Gard Snow is going to really have to be creative. I think the Eberle for Strome deal was kind of, I don't want to say easy, because no trades are ever easy per se, but it kind of was there. Chiarelli's been a partner before, obviously, so that kind of deal just worked. I think that the Duchesne deal, he's going to have to work a lot harder to get done, and even any other deal for Galchenyuk or Van Riemsdyk, I think he's going to have to work hard and be creative to get those deals done. Right now, the Islanders are at about 5.6 million in cap space. You can go over the cap, obviously, until training camp, until the start of the regular season, rather. So, but they're just shy of 6 million cap space, so he's going to have to get creative and do some things that maybe are outside of his comfort zone to try to get something done. But I do think they're working hard on a second piece, and I think eventually we will see a second piece come in.
I'm going to go in a little trade mock area. If I were to say that if I were to call Mark Bergevin, so not even going after Joe Sack anymore, moving on to Galchenyuk. Galchenyuk is an RFA. Bergevin doesn't want him. Peter Chiarelli, we've already dealt with Edmonton, so we can't go back there. We don't want Nugent Hopkins, another $6 million. So what if we go and trade them Hamonic, Kuhlman, and this year's second-round pick plus for Galchenyuk and sign him to a $6 million a year contract?
All right, well, the thing there is you figure Hamonic's at just shy of 4. So if you move Hamonic, you're up to just shy of 10. You give Galchenyuk, that would put them right there. I mean, if you talk about giving Galchenyuk between 5 and 6,
I said
might be a little bit of a stretch considering he really only has the one great year, although his ascension is, if you were to chart him out, it's been steadily rising over the course of his career, his offensive production. So yeah, if you look at it that way, and you could possibly give Galchenyuk a $5.5 million deal, and then you figure you got to sign you got to sign Calvin DeHaan. So you're talking about $3 to $4 million there. It put them right butt up against the cap in that scenario. That's possible. I'm not sure Bergeron would go for that kind of deal. I know again that they do need defensemen. Travis Hamonic would have to be attractive to them, I would think. So yeah, I mean that's definitely another interesting avenue that Garth Snow can do, and this is why it's taking so long. I know the fans are impatient and they're antsy, and once the Eberle news came out, they wanted that follow-up news where if that second deal. I do think that second deal will happen, but it's going to take some time because again, it's a harder deal to pull off now.
Okay, so you said DeHaan. You think DeHaan's going to make around 4? Would that entice me giving another piece and moving Kuhlman?
Oh, if you can move Kuhlman, that totally opens things up because then you're talking about another $4.5 million off the cap. So I mean, now you're upwards of 13. I mean that if you can somehow get rid of Nikolai Kuhlman, that definitely opens up a lot. He was originally thought to be possibly going in the expansion draft. It turns out that was a bogus source there, but. He has only 1 year left on his deal, so I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to move a guy like Kuhlman. He's kind of slotted into that fourth-line grinder role, which he does very well, mind you. But I'm just not sure if you can kind of throw him into a deal and get a team that's got a lot of cap space to kind of meet that for you. Even if you could turn around and maybe retain, I know Garth Snow's not a fan of retaining salary, but even if you could talk somebody to take Kuhlman off your hands and you eat 30% of Kuhlman's salary, I think that's still a win for the Islanders in that situation anyway, where it affords them the opportunity to, like we said, bring in that second piece, that complementary piece to Eberle. Or a piece that might even be above Eberle, to be honest with you. I mean, if you look at an Alex Galchenyuk or a JVR or a James Neal, at this point in their careers, they're at least equal, if not above Eberle in that sense. So, who knows? The second piece could be bigger than Eberle.
Yeah, I just have one quick question about something that you've probably been getting asked a while, a long time about, but it's something that I feel like needs a specific answer. Adam Pelech was protected, and everyone's kind of confused, and I'm just wondering what exactly was going on there, and perhaps could he be a piece that Garth Snow looks at to move? Could teams see more in him than us fans do? Do you know something about Adam Pelech that perhaps us as just fans who write on a site may not know?
No, I just think they're really, really high on him. I mean, that's honestly a pretty simple answer. I think that not only Garth Snow, but I know that Jonathan Ledecky in some conversations he's had with some sources is very high on Adam Pelech. They just like his game. They like his potential. They like the way he's progressed so far, especially coming back with the thoracic outlet syndrome. It's pretty simple when it comes to Pelech. He's a guy that Garth Snow did not want to risk in the expansion draft. He felt that if he did, that Vegas would take him for sure. And like I said, they really have him kind of penciled in for a second, third pairing guy for a long time. And at worst, they feel that he's much more valuable in their slew of assets than on the Vegas Golden Knights, which I think they were really convinced that would select Pelech if he was left exposed. So I don't think there's really much more to read into that than that. I think that the reason Snow protected the 5B was obviously because he had this 5 deal already in place and done with George McPhee, so he knew he could. He knew that all of his forwards were safe, even though he was protecting only 3, 2 of which had to be protected. So again, I think that when that originally came out, me and a couple other media members advised caution, don't overreact to it. There's still going to be so much going on behind the scenes, and there still is. Even the day after the expansion draft was completed, there's still a lot going on behind the scenes. Vegas is talking deal left and right as well. So I think that, to react to that was a little premature. And I think even now to analyze why he protected Adam Pelech is simply because they like his game.
Okay, so quickly back on the track of that second piece. No matter if it comes Friday, Saturday, or before July 1st. I know that there are teams, like I've heard that Minnesota's in on Galchenyuk. I've heard that the Devils have looked at him. I know the Predators have looked at Duchesne. The Blue Jackets have looked at Duchesne. Do you see them, and along with what other teams do you see the Islanders and Snow specifically competing with to get this second piece that we want?
I think when you're speaking specifically of Duchesne and Galchenyuk, there's an absolute ton of interest, and I think that is exactly what, in Duchesne's case anyway, is exactly what Joe Sakic wanted. When he didn't get what he asked for at the trading deadline, this is exactly what Sakic wanted, was he wanted more teams to get involved in the bidding at the draft, and he's got his wish. Whether those teams can meet the right now ridiculous asking price that he seems to be asking is another story. Who knows? I mean, again, trade talks are so fluid, they're so changing minute to minute. Sakic could turn around tomorrow and realize that, hey, I'm not going to get this ludicrous price I'm asking. The best offer I got was from Snowy. I'm going to go back to Garth and take Garth's original offer. That's how you play this game. You ask for the moon, and sometimes settle for the stars. That's how this might end up playing out for Sakic. This isn't a guarantee. I don't think there's any way that he holds on to Matt Duchesne. I think that Matt Duchesne needs to move on. I think he's going to move on. But at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of general managers sitting around playing poker, and who's got the best poker face. That's just how it works. And so just because Sakic's asking these ludicrous prices doesn't mean that at the end of the day he comes back around to an original deal that he got that's maybe not as good as the one he wanted, but it's the best one that he has on the table. The Devils are a sneaky team. The Devils you have to watch. I'm not sure they have the assets necessarily in a trade. I think they're more cash rich in terms of free agency. This is a weak free agent market outside of TJ Oshie. Not quite sure what they would trade, but they're a scary team because they have a tremendous amount of cap room. They have a solid goaltender in Corey Schneider. They have a nice top forward in Taylor Hall. They're a team that could swoop in and surprise if they somehow can splash some money on Kevin Shattenkirk, and then if they can somehow find the assets to trade for Alex Galchenyuk, let's say. That pretty much changes them overnight, especially given that they're probably going to take Nolan Patrick with the first overall selection as well, and he might be an immediate impact player, a la Austin Matthews. So it's a very interesting situation in New Jersey, one that bears watching, but again, I don't think that Snow should limit himself to Duchesne and or Galchenyuk. There's plenty of other top-line winners out there. We know that Vegas is desperate for draft picks. George McPhee is a smart guy. He knows he's not going to build this club through free agency. He's not going to build this club through trades. He's only going to build the Golden Knights into a winner through the draft. And he's got a ton of draft picks right now. He's looking for more. Who knows? If he takes a couple of draft picks off the Islanders' hands and sends them James Neal, if Snow can somehow make the salary work. Like I said, if he can talk somebody into taking Kuhlman, or if he retains Philip Kuhlman's salary to get like $3 million of that off the books, and he turns around and sends McPhee some high draft picks for James Neal, that could be a possibility too. So there's a lot of moving parts right now. The trade market is virtually impossible to nail down because, again, it changes so rapidly and so quickly. But right now, general managers are doing their due diligence, they're doing their jobs, and that's pretty much staring each other down in a classic, Western shootout, seeing who blinks first.
Okay, so right before we move on to talking about the schedule that was just released, one quick question about goaltending.
Mm-hmm.
Is Halak and Greiss next year's tandem?
Looks like that. Looks pretty much set for Halak and Greiss to go 1 and 1A heading into the 2017-18 season. I think that, when you see what goaltenders have gone for, the move that Calgary just made, for instance, I don't think there's a high demand there. I think the Guardsville knows that. I think with 1 year left on his deal, they're definitely willing to take Jaro Halak back. I think that, Halak came back from Bridgeport last season with a renewed attitude. Really fit right back into the locker room seamlessly, didn't cause any issues, and played really well down the stretch. I think that the Islanders know that if they're going to seriously compete this year with these roster changes, the one they made today and the potential second one that might be coming, I think they know that Halak and Greiss is going to give them the best opportunity to do that. It's not going to be Greiss and Gibson. That's not going to give them the best opportunity for success. It's going to be Halak and Greiss. So I think that they've come to that realization, and I see no reason why that's not the goaltending tandem come September.
Okay.
All right, so just moving on to the schedule. It looks like the Islanders have a very interesting schedule next year. It looks like it's easier for them. Their max road trip is 4 games. They have a lot of home stretches. They got a lot of favorable games, favorable times. The end of the year is nice. Last year, the Islanders, the circus and a lot of factors kind of hurt them. Do you think that this year the Islanders will be able to take advantage of a new team, perhaps, and a kind of, in my opinion, you can comment on this, but I think a very helpful schedule, and perhaps surprise some people next year?
I think at the end of the day, the schedule is what it is. Every team plays 82 games. Every team plays 41 home games. Every division team plays each other the same number of times. Every conference team plays each other the same number of times. So I'm not really sure that there's an advantage per se. The travel miles to me is a little bit slightly overrated in my opinion. But I do like the fact that this year the Islanders are starting on the road. They played 5 of their first 7 on the road. They get the California trip out of the way in games 4, 5, and 6. I really like that. It gets them kind of away from the West Coast. They're done with that early. 5 of the first 7 on the road gives them a chance to bond as a team, because teams always do bond on the road, obviously better than they do when they're enjoying the luxuries of being home. They tend to get a little lazy. And last year, Cal Clutterbuck said it to me numerous times when I spoke to Cal in the locker room about the fact that they were home kind of caused a little bit of a malaise in the room. It kind of caused a little bit of a relaxed feeling, too relaxed almost, where they were chomping at the bit to get on the road. Cal told me last year. So I think the schedule does look more favorable this year in that sense, in terms of how they're starting. And I think there's no question that they need to take advantage of it. We've seen the what comes out of fast starts in the NHL. It affords you the opportunity that when you go through that inevitable slump later on, you've banked so many early points that you can kind of withdraw from that, mid-season when things really start getting to be a grind. We saw that 2 years ago. We did not see that last year because they started so slowly that they were playing catch-up all season. So in that sense, I do like what the schedule is affording the Islanders this year, especially starting on the road, and it's something that they're going to have to take advantage of.
Yeah, and one thing that I also really liked, I like how you commented on that. A time in my life that I just remember as an Islander fan was the 2014-2015 start of the season. That was the Capitals' year, as you probably know, and the Islanders had their California trip in early November. And I just remember them getting off to a tremendous start that year, and they were one of the best teams in the league along with the Devils, ironically, and it was just a terrific year. So I'm hoping the Islanders, I know you say schedule is overrated, but I looked at this and I've never had an opinion on the schedule besides the 9-game trip last year. But this year I don't know why, but I'm excited. I don't know if you're hearing that from other fans, from players, from anything, but I have a good feeling about this schedule. I don't know. I may just be overreacting, but I don't know.
It does matter, believe me. I mean, look, no team, I think at this point in the league, with the parity that we've seen, no team's going to be like that Blackhawks team from a couple of years ago that lost 8 games, I think, in that 48-game season or something like that. They were, ridiculous. They went, no team's going to be like that. So I think every team's going to go through the inevitable slump. Every team's going to hit the inevitable wall at some point, where you lose 4 out of 5 or you lose 3, 4 straight. It's going to happen. It happens to most teams, almost small teams. So I think that's why it's so crucial that if you're banking these early points, we saw it with the Rangers last year, right? They banked so many early points, they got such a fast start that when they hit that inevitable wall, that grind, they were able to withdraw from that bank and kind of use that to keep their position in the standings, and they got to the second round of the playoffs. So it definitely does matter.
All right. So between now the schedule, and we're definitely going to get to talking about your new podcast, which I did listen to the first episode of, and I think it's a fantastic thing that you guys got back to it. But there's one quick question about something not on the ice but behind the bench. What's your opinion on Luke Richardson, Scott Gomez, having Greg Cronin, and Kelly Buchberger most likely coming in to work with Doug Weight? What's your opinion on his new staff?
Absolutely tremendous. I think that not only does Doug Weight have familiarity with all of them, with the exception of maybe Gomez, obviously he's got that relationship and that familiarity with Richardson and Buchberger from their days in Edmonton. I think that, never before have we seen, I'm honestly at a struggle, and I haven't done the research, but I probably will now that I'm thinking about it. I struggle to think of any coaching staff in the league history that's had this much experience behind the bench at one time. If Buchberger comes on as rumored, strong rumored, you're looking at 5,000 games of NHL experience behind the Islanders bench. You're looking at playoffs. You're looking at Stanley Cups. You're looking at just a tremendous amount of wealth of experience behind that bench. And I think the players do react and draw upon that. I think, at the end of Jack Capuano's tenure, that might have hurt him a little bit. These guys behind the bench, all of them, can look at these players now and say, "Look, I've been through this. Trust me. This is how it's got to. This is how it's going to work. This is how it's got to happen." And I think the players are going to respond to that. And I think that clearly John Tavares is happy with it. Doug Weight originally didn't want the job. He just did it as a favor. He wasn't. He would much rather be in that GM seat. That's really what he believed he was destined for. But he ended up liking it so much, and the players ended up responding to him so positively that, thankfully, I think for us, he decided to take the full-time position. So, I think that it's just unbelievable. It's something that we've never seen before with that much experience, and I think it's going to benefit the team tremendously.
I think this is only the second time they've had so many 1,000 game players, so that's a pretty cool stat. And I just want to transition over to one last thing. It's off the ice, it's related, but the fans seem to be more motivated than ever. I know I'm so excited. I know a lot of fans are. You look at the coaching staff we just talked about, everyone's excited. You look at Garth Snow. He was one of the most hated men for the Islanders, and I know you work with him, but it looks like right now his favorability rating, if there is one, is skyrocketing with the expansion draft, with the Eberle trade. And what I'm wondering is, will he get into a bidding war for one of these players? Will he continue what he's doing? It seems like his agenda right now is going perfectly, and if it continues, I think the Islanders could be a really good team next year. So just the next couple of months, very important for the Islanders, and just what's your final say on how you think this goes?
Snowy, from what I know of him, is a little stubborn at times to a fault. He really is a man who believes in what he's saying and what he's doing. Sticks to his guns. I'm not sure I see him getting into an all-out bidding war. And whereas, let's say you're at an auction and somebody's trying to grab an item for $10, and you have this other guy bidding it up to 15, and I'm not sure you're going to see Snowy going 18, 20, 22. I don't think you're going to see him get into that kind of bidding war, only because of his personality. I think that he believes what he's offering is enough. But I do think he's not going to be short-sighted in the sense that if it maybe takes a little bit extra, or if he feels that he can maybe spice up a trade a little bit extra without hurting the Islanders too much, I think he'll do that. Because again, I think it all comes back full circle to John Tavares, I believe. It all comes back to giving Tavares the tools that he needs to win now. It's going to do them no good to win in 5 years. It's going to do them no good to win in 7 years. This team right now is constructed with the addition of Jordan Eberle today is a good hockey team, a team that's going to compete in the Metro Division, a team that's going to compete in the Eastern Conference. But what's going to make them a great hockey team? And that's going to be the second piece, I believe. If Garth can really get creative and work that out. I think that could be the difference for them. But I think no bones about it. Right now, they're a good hockey team. Who knows? By the end of the weekend, they may be even better than that. I think it's too early to tell right now with so much unknown going on right now. But I think so far, Stone's pushed all the right buttons. I think he's shown John Tavares all the right things. I hope that the RFP gets straightened out and there's finally some finality to that. I feel that fans deserve it just as much as the current players on the roster deserve it. And I think that's something that hopefully can finally be put to bed so it's not even a talking point anymore for any of the outside media outlets.
Okay, so we're going to end off. Before we say thank you, I know, and I told you before, I listened to it the other day, your new podcast, the Secondary Assist podcast with Shane Blackburn. You want to tell us a little bit about how that started back up? Because I know you had the Dump and Chase podcast a while back. How did it start back up?
We did the Dump and Chase podcast as part of Islanders Insight when I actually ran that site. And we had a lot of fun doing it, but things progress, things happen, people, lives happen and families happen, and obviously I got the great opportunity to switch over to Sportsnet New York and write for SNY, and that happened, and so we kind of fell by the wayside with that show, but the last couple of weeks, actually Shane sent me a text just out of the blue saying, hey, are you free Monday afternoons? Because Shane has a job, he's a producer at SiriusXM, and so he finally got a steady schedule in terms of knowing what his hours are. Before, he used to be kind of like herky-jerky, like he would know really when he was working and when he wasn't. He'd work days, he'd work nights. Now that he's more steady in that capacity, he just out of the blue said, are you available Monday afternoons? I was like, no, I got my day job, blah, blah, blah. And then he got me thinking about it. He kind of put it in my head. I was like, man, I really do miss doing podcasts. I really do miss that element, But then I gave him a call one day and we just started talking out, hashing out the details, and we said, hey, I can do Monday nights at 8, and it'll be just you and me. It'll be a quick 30 minutes in and out, and just kind of hashed it out. And went to my good friend Reagan King, who to design our logo for us, and it really just started just like that. It was really just an innocent thing, and just sending me a text asking me if I was available on Monday afternoons, and from there it grew into the kind of reboot of the Dump and Chase podcast as the Secondary Assist podcast. So. And the name, as you all know, we pulled Twitter and got some really, really funny responses, some witty, funny responses, which is what I expected. But at the end of the day, we all circled back to Josh Bailey. I remember having some conversations last year on Twitter with some fans about the value of secondary assists. They were trying to devalue Josh Bailey's season by saying he had too many secondary assists. So that's where the name kind of was born from.
Just one little quick story. When we first had you on, we were just so scared, and it was our first interview. And Jared, who used to be on, wanted to ask you about how your concert was, and we were so scared. We were like, don't ask him, that's so unprofessional. But it just seems like, I don't know, I feel like we've grown. I just want to ask you, how was your vacation?
Oh, my vacation was great. It was where I got to spend some time with my family down in Tybee Island, Georgia, and I haven't seen my pops in almost 5 years. Because he lives in Lilburn, Georgia, which is a little town outside of Atlanta. So obviously there's a lot of space, a lot of distance there. And as I've said before, life gets in the way, work gets in the way. I have a kid in college, so it was great that I was able to reconnect with him and spend time with my sisters and my brothers. And we had 15 of us in this 6,000 square foot mansion in Tybee Island, and it was just, I felt like I think I finally got to see how celebrities and athletes live, I guess you could say, for a week. But it was just a really, really fun time, a relaxing time, and came at the right time of the year, too, right smack in the middle of the year, of the calendar year, so kind of broke things up nice, and was just completing my first week of work back from vacation, so it's been kind of a grind this week, but I think come next week I'll probably be more in the flow again. But thanks for asking. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Andy Graziano of the Secondary Assist podcast. Make sure to go check it out. What's the Twitter for it again, Andy?
At Secondary Pod, and you can also go to secondaryassist.com. The show's also available on Google Play and iTunes.
Okay, thanks. We wish you the best of luck. on the podcast, the draft this weekend, and all of the chaos going on in Islanders Nation.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Let's see.
Bye.
That was Andy Graziano, returning guest, and hopefully we can have some more of our guests from the past coming back on soon. So he said some very interesting things about what Garth Snow is trying to keep doing, continuing to get a second piece, no matter if that, like he said, no matter if that second piece is Duchesne, JVR, James Neal, Alex Galchenyuk, or another guy maybe out of free agency, like if he dumps off a Kuhlman contract, maybe hinting in on TJ Oshie or Alexander Radulov. So, David, what's your opinion on what he was saying about getting that second piece?
First of all, it was a great interview. That was really exciting. He said some. It was like talking to a friend. I mean, he said some great stuff that I had no idea about. I didn't know how much Garth Snow wanted this second piece. I have been so not buying into these rumors. The Islanders have had so many rumors over the last couple of years, and this big rumor that just was uncovered was Eberle and Duchesne. They're coming to the Islanders on Thursday, the day after the trade freeze, and I did not buy that at all. I thought it was crazy, and there you have it. You get Eberle, and it's starting to go crazy. I mean, we could get Eberle and Duchesne, and Andy Graziano just comes on, and by the time this is posted, I mean, who knows? We could have another player. I mean, Garth Snow is doing everything he needs to do. The mood about him has gone from he ruined last season with his Halak decision, his Oposo, Martin, his Nielsen decisions, his Ladd decisions. I mean, the mood went from he ruined last season to he's giving them hope this season. If these moves he's making, getting Eberle, one of his Tavares' best friends, getting another player, if this happens to, get John Tavares to re-sign, I mean, Garth Snow is going to be back to winning Sports Illustrated General Manager of the Year. I mean, this is a terrific couple days for him, and Andy Graziano said some great things. It seems like Snow's sole priority, it's screw the draft picks, screw the prospects. He's not going to give up Matt Barzal. He's not going to give up Brian Pullock, but he's in win now mode, and I'm telling you, if everything goes their way, you could look at a core that's up to par with the Capitals, the Penguins, and if they somehow get into the Atlantic Division in the playoffs, if something happens, I mean, they could pull in Ottawa, they could be in the Eastern Conference Finals next year. This team that Garth Snow is building, there's so much promise here, and hearing what Andy Graziano said was just so exciting. I mean, I've never been more excited to be an Islander fan than perhaps 3 years ago, or the Florida series. I mean, this is terrific.
Yeah, I mean, as an Islander fan during the Florida series, we were all excited, but as you were saying, I've never had this much excitement. Yeah, this is the start of the year. This isn't saying at the end of the year, oh, we made the playoffs, we won a playoff series. That's not that kind of excitement. This is hype into the season. And as an Islander fan, and you could agree with me, the last time we probably had this hype is when we got Kuhlman, Grabowski, Halak, Chad Johnson, Nick Leddy, Johnny Butcher, all in that one summer when Garth Snow became that genius general manager that we all thought he was, and now he's back to being. He was so reluctant. Before the trade today, before the Jordan Eberle trade, his last trade was when he traded for Shane Prince at not this year's trade deadline, last year's trade deadline. And between that, the only moves he made were Seidenberg, Ladd, Chimera, and signing and waiving Pierre-Alexandre Parento.
Yeah, and I hate to be cliche here, but one of a movie I just watched was The Hunger Games, and President Snow says, hope, it's the only thing stronger than fear. And I feel like Islander fans had fear last year. They were scared. We were scared. When we lost to Poso and Nielsen and Martin, we were scared. We're like, this is not going well. When we got off to that terrible start, we were scared. We were just we gave up. We gave up as a fan base. We gave up as a team. And Doug Waite comes back. Garth Snow starts making moves, and we have hope. And the only feeling, the only feeling stronger than fear and being scared and disappointed and angry at the team is hope. We have so much hope right now to be an amazing team next year that this could go down as one of the best off seasons in Islanders history. With just, I'm praying that Garth Snow acquires that second piece, because that will be it. That will be an amazing team up and down the lineup. And I'm just hoping that, even though he hasn't made the best decisions, we have hope right now. We have hope in Garth Snow, and we're just looking at, I hate to quote the Hunger Games, I really do, but I mean, hope's stronger than fear, and right now, hope is what we have. We are hyped up, and we're excited.
And hopefully we don't move back to fear.
Oh, yeah. Fear is bad, especially with the Islanders.
And people who are listening, you could probably remember me, episodes 1, 2, 3. I used to be that person who's like, oh, if Tavares leaves, he's going to go to Toronto because he's got Marner, Matthews, Nylander, JVR, Kadri. JVR may be an Islander by the time we post this. The world may never know. But now you're looking at it and say that there are those big stud free agents next year. If we get a Duchesne, you could start saying, hey, come to the Islanders. We got Duchesne, Tavares, Jordan Eberle, Matt Barzal's coming up in the future. We got Hosang, Beauvillier, Letty and Boychuk in the back, and we have a solid goalie in Grice. We have Puck. We've got the pieces. If Garth Snow gets another trade done, you know what? I'm going to give him a deadline. If Garth Snow gets another trade done by the end of the 7th round of the draft, not even after the round, by the end of the 7th round of the draft, I think that not only would we be able to free up cap, maybe by dealing the contract to Kuhlman or something, maybe getting that Galchenyuk, signing him to what Andy said, like $5 million. We have Hamonic out. We can maybe deal to Hahn. Hamonic maybe for a pick or two. Shake all that up and we'd still have money. If we get another deal done and Garth Snow really wants to, I could see us being contenders in the Kevin Shattenkirk sweepstakes.
I'm going to disagree with you here. I don't want to talk about Kevin Shattenkirk because he's one of my least favorite players in the NHL. I just feel like he is selfish. He declined trades to teams. He's going to want a 7-year, $42 million deal. I disagree. I don't think Shattenkirk's where we go. I don't think we have the money for that. I think we stay out of free agency this year. You got to hear me out on this. Garth Snow is I don't want to say wizard, but Garth Snow is a very good trader.
He's a magician.
Okay, he's a magician.
He doesn't have all the powers. He's just got most of them.
Yeah, he's a magician with these trades, and his trades recently have been great. I mean, he's fleeced the Oilers. He's fleeced Boston. And if he can make another trade, you stay out of free agency. You're not giving, unless you're signing Sam Gagner to replace a center or something, which I don't even think would work because Barzal is coming up and all these players. You have a team that with a trade or two, you stay out of free agency. You don't give these huge contracts. Garth Snow's got to work what he does best. That's the trade market. That's the draft, I want to say, even though I don't know about that. I'm going to go trade market. Trade market for me is Garth Snow's specialty. And I just want to talk. I'm going to take a second here to talk about this Eberle deal. Eberle's contract is a bad one for the Oilers. They cannot pay him $6 million a year. But you look at a team like the Islanders, we have enough money for that. It's only 2 years. We can take that on, no risk. We're giving up Ryan Strome, who's a failing prospect. He's not even a prospect anymore. He's not a good player, in my opinion. I like him as a person. I like him as a person. I don't want to call him a failure yet because I think he'll pick it up in Edmonton. But he wasn't going to be a good Islander, and we just basically got Jordan Eberle for nothing. We would have lost a better forward in the expansion draft. I'm saying this trade, we fleeced Edmonton. I can't see any. Andy Graziano said it himself. There's no risk in this trade. I mean, God forbid Eberle pulls a lad, which I don't think is going to happen, but the Islanders just made a very good trade, and things are going to continue, but this trade for Jordan Eberle, Ryan Strome makes almost $3 million too. We only took on $3 million of cap. Not a bad trade. You keep saying Kuhlman. I'm looking for the Islanders to not maybe move Kuhlman. Cizikas or Clutterbuck would be preferable for me. Never going to happen, but I don't know. I think getting Grabowski off the team was great. Love him. One of my favorite players, but that cap helps. You don't want to deal with long-term injured reserve. Love the course this offseason's headed.
You know, what I'm going to keep saying this offseason, and like you were saying, we have hope. And I understand you don't like Shattenkirk. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, like, he's a good player if he's willing to take short-term, small amount of money to stay local. But if the Rangers want to pay him 7 years, $7 million, 7 years, $6 million, go ahead, because by the end of that contract, he'll be like 38 years old, I think. He's 37, or he's 30 right now, I think. Let me go check that. Kevin Shattenkirk is 28. So by the end of a contract like that, he'd be 35. That's a declining age for defensemen.
Yeah,
like forwards can go on a little bit more, but defensemen, like, it's hard back skating. Like, I don't get how players. Let's see. Let's give a good example. Like, I don't see how players like. What's an older defenseman? Like Jay Bouwmeester. I don't get how a former teammate of Shattenkirk. I don't get how Jay Bouwmeester goes out there every single day, continues to backskate like a pro. I don't get how Brian Campbell is one of my favorite NHL players. He's a great leader. I respect him for continuing to play smart defense even as he's getting older.
Yeah. Definitely not a fan of Shattenkirk. We could agree to disagree on that, but either way, I don't think it's rational. I don't think Garceau is going that route. We don't have the cap space. We don't have the luxury to do that. So, in my opinion, we're going trade market, and I just want to move on to just talk about Belmont a little bit, because Andy Graziano, me and Scott had an executive decision beforehand. We could have easily asked him, how's the Belmont situation going? But he gets so many questions over tweets, and we just want to stay away from these generic questions. But one thing that he kept kind of saying was, if this distraction of Belmont, of the new arena, goes away. He said that 3 or 4 times, and my ear just kept going up. I was like, Belmont again, he just said it. I think that Garceau, when he has some news, he puts it in a hut, and he does not leak anything. He's insane. He's probably the only GM in the league who never has a leak, and he puts the media in a frenzy. I mean, we're like chickens running with our heads off whenever there's a rumor going around. And
watch.
What?
Play and watch.
Yeah, plain watch. Oh my
Play
God,
watch
that's ridiculous.
2017.
Yeah, so play. Oh my God.
Comment down below if you were part of the Plain Watch squad.
Yeah, so I mean, just craziness with this, and this arena. There's not been any news for like 4 months. I mean, it's just unbelievable, and I don't get how. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be honest. I don't think Andy Graziano, I don't think Arthur Staple have confirmation. I think we all suspect they're going to Belmont. We all suspect it's being paid for, but I don't know. I mean, this is just like, it's just kind of a weird thing going on right now. I think the Islanders are going to get this arena situation resolved a little later than we think, but it'll get resolved. They'll be in Belmont. But Andy Graziano said it. I mean, hopefully an announcement on the agreement, the contract, will be coming out soon. Hopefully we get some help from our rivals, the Rangers, their owner. But very interesting times. As I keep saying, this is just another interesting thing. Whenever we beat a team on social media, other fans say, at least we have a home. We do have a home. It's Barclays Center. We're just moving. So, again, it's a weird thing that's over our heads. How do you feel about it, Scott?
Everyone, and I'm not roasting or complaining against you in any sense. There are these Islander fans who comment on our page, too. What about Belmont? Why are the Islanders signing a deal with Belmont? We cannot straight up go to Belmont Park, go to the people who own that land that is being sold, because it is a competition. The New York Islanders are not the only group competing for that land. Do we know the other group? No. But all we know is that the New York Islanders are competing for that land with another group, no matter if it's a group that wants to put in a rec deck hockey league or something like that. So like something along the lines of hockey. The Islanders should be number one priority. And like you said, we're getting help from the Rangers owner. We're getting support from the Wilpons, who at first wanted us to move across the street from Citi Field. We're getting support from both of them. And it's good because, like, I understand there are these rivalries between New York teams, but all in all, if the Islanders need the Rangers' help in staying a rivalry and building an arena in New York, why not? If the Yankees are playing the Phillies and the whole enemy of my enemy is my friend, the Mets fans root for the Yankees, even though it's kind of hard. I mean, there are also the bad teams, like you got the Jets and Knicks, where people keep supporting. Like, New York sports is a good sports area, and that's why the Islanders want to stay there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at Kansas City. Ugh. You look at Connecticut, Hartford. Disgusting. We're not going there. I'm glad the owners are making a commitment. My grandpa always says when the Yankees are out, he roots for the Mets. They're arch rivals, but, New York sports, I mean, it's a powerful thing. And, I think we're going to end it there. We're just going to thank Andy Graziano again for coming on. Amazing mentor for us. He's just been terrific. But I do want to say one thing quickly. Bobble Boss is our sponsor. They're an amazing bobblehead company. There's like a conglomerate of bobblehead companies, and we're just so thankful that Bobble Boss decided to sponsor our podcast and give us an exclusive code that you can find in all of our past episodes. Or this is a little trick. We're trying to get you to go back to our past episodes. But the code's in that, and it is in our past episodes for 20% off any order on BobbleBoss.com. 4th of July coming up. I don't know if you want an American bobblehead of your favorite Islander, but you can make it work on BobbleBoss. Great site. We also just want to thank everyone, all the writers, all Islanders. We just have such an amazing team, and we're so excited for the summer to be getting articles out every day, really progress the All Islanders brand, and just make it so that All Islanders can be one of the best sites. Instagram, it's just All Islanders this summer, All Islanders is going to become a real site. We're so excited, and just look out for All Islanders. So with that, we're going to end it. Thank you, Bobble Boss. Thank you, allislanders.com. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Andy Graziano. And this was a great episode. We'll see you for number 12.